What's going on, guys? This is Logan with West Desert Wheeler. Today we've got the WDW Capra on the brand new Proline 1.9 Trepadors. Let's go check these out. And when I say brand new, I mean these things have not touched dirt yet. So you guys are seeing them roll through the sand for the very first time. Let's go check them out. So these are mounted up on Spec RC 1.9 comp cut wheels. These are the 1.9-11 design, which is heavily trail ready beadlock inspired, which is one of my favorite rock crawling wheels. They just look fantastic on everything. So definitely one of my favorites from Spec RC. But Spec RC makes it difficult, man. Like, he's got 100+ designs and they all look so good. But I do like having the more scale realistic trail ready wheels on the Capras here. So it just looks fantastic. So the wheel itself has a groove on it that like a foam would kind of lock into or something. And our buddies over at SL3D RC, they make 3D printed tire inserts. Neil made an insert that locks onto that ring in the wheel. So these inserts fight side hilling just through the regular squid insert design. But then on top of that, they lock into the wheel so the insert itself can't shift across the wheel itself. Like sometimes you get an insert and it can wiggle side to side. These things are locked into place. So this car will not have any side deflection while side hilling. So a very long way around to say I have SL3D squid inserts on these wheels and tires. So let's talk about the Proline Trepador. Very good looking scale tire release from Proline. Now it's a little interesting in the fact that the overall height of this tire is not the traditional 4.75 1.9. That's what you'll see on Class 2 spec tires. This guy is like their Baja Pro X release, where it's a little bit taller than 4.75. It's a 4.9 inch height tire. Now, in my opinion, Axial Capras look best on tires bigger than 4.75. Now there's a limit. I don't want huge balloon tires on my Capras. So most 2.2s are too big. Like once you get into that 5.75, it's too much tire. I prefer 5.5 inch to probably 5 inch. So these are very close. They're definitely on the right path to looking better on the Capra, but not quite as tall as I'd like them. So I actually modify tires and I sell them through my website, westdesertwheeler.com. I also sell the winch mount that you can see in the hood here. Got it set up as a suck down winch in this car. But I sell what I call cut and shut tires, where I will cut across the sidewall, across the tread, add and insert a piece of tire to make it taller, and then glue it all back together. So I've been doing this with crawlers for a while. And it just turns out that the Maxxis Trepador here works as well. So I can do cut and shut Trepadors. Now because these start as a taller tire, you end up with a taller cut and shut. So the BFG crawlers are pretty well perfect for a Capra in my opinion. 5.25 height on the crawler, and with the Trepador it is 5.4. Now typically I like to have a taller tire as long as, yeah, let's take a look here. Not seeing any side deflection on that tire there. So what I was trying to say here is that the taller your tire gets on a car, the more wheelbase you need to have it look appropriate. So if you're going to a 5.4, you're gonna wanna be at that like 13 inch wheelbase range. Now this car is still stock Capra wheelbase, which I think is 12.6, 12.8. Somewhere in there, maybe 12.5. Yeah, it's very common mod for people to add Traxxas longer rod ends to them. Check out that side hill. All the weight on that front tire, no deflection at all. I'm trying to get my grill out of this rock so I can get our way across this. Still in the grill. So all that to say, stock wheelbase Capra, the 4.9 is not a bad choice. But if you got a stretched out Capra like 13 inch plus, I would recommend some cut and shuts, whether that's the crawler or the Trepador. Just kind of pick the style that you like. As of now, the Trepador's only been released in G8. I would really expect Proline to release a Predator version, but G8 is my preference. It's longer lasting. Now, unfortunately, G8 works best once you scrub it in, which means you drive it long enough that the leading edges of the tread blocks start to break away. And then that creates a rounded front edge to the tread block instead of a square front edge to the tread block. And it gives it more traction in my area. This sandstone loves to have a broken in tire. G8 lasts a long time and it scrubs in really well, and then it gets more traction the more you scrub it in. So it gets better the more you drive them. Tire discussions are always fun because it's very dependent on the exact terrain you have. So for me, G8 scrubbed in works really, really good. But I've talked to a few people down in Arizona who say that the brand new tires with sharp edges hook up better on the style of rock that they drive on, and that a scrubbed in tire starts to lose traction over time. So very, very interesting. Another part of breaking in a tire is working the sidewalls thousands of times by squeezing them into pinches and whatnot. Eventually that rubber actually becomes more compliant and softer, so you'll get more tire squish and the tread will work a little better. Man, this car is killing some lines here today. And so that's part of breaking in a tire as well. It helps it be more compliant. Uh-oh. Okay, I can't see what that front left's doing. I think I can now. Not exactly what we're after there. So if you're a diehard Predator guy, I hope you get your wish. I hope they make Trepadors in Predator. For cut and shuts, I only offer G8 because it's easier to work with as well as longer lasting. So they're not inexpensive. I know that. Unfortunately, it just takes me time to make them and it costs me money to buy the tires. So got to cover my time and shipping and the tires. Also, my experience and quality is what you're paying for there too. As well as, you know, a warranty. I take care of my customers. If you have any serious issues with your cut and shuts, I get them taken care of as well. So as of now, the tires have only shipped out about a week ago, and I received mine a couple days ago. This is my first drive on a set of unmodified 1.9s. I've driven on the cut and shut version quite a bit, and just enough to start getting that leading edge to scrub in. But I definitely wanted to try out the 1.9 and see how it does on the old Capra here. I think this is a great application for it. This car is very off camber, and I'm trying to be very delicate in my movements here as to not upset it and make it roll. See if we can get the front tire up this without rolling. There we go. Now that the axle's leveled out, now I was hoping I could rock the car a little more. Yeah, I don't know if I can make this, get it to rotate and get the rear off the wall. I drove too far. Now I'm just sideways on a hill. I can't get out of this. Well, I guess if the axle's smashed into a rock, it won't roll, so that's nice. The grill is holding the car up. Okay, there we go. Now our axle's more off camber. Still no sidewall roll, thanks to SL3D RC. Squid inserts already available for the Trepadors, so if you're getting a new set, be sure to check out SL3D RC. Neil over there is a great guy to work with. There we go, front winch to hold the car more level to the axle. All right, we made it out. Let's see if we can make it up now. But overall, brand new G8, it's really hard to see the full potential of G8 on your first run. Like I say, it takes some time to break them in, and I think they will get better over time. In the 2.2 cut and shuts I've been running, the Trepadors seem like they have been harder to break in than the crawlers are. And I think that's just the tread design. As well as Proline used a good thick sidewall on these, and the tread blocks are pretty thick as well. I have kind of a unique inside look at the Proline tires because I modify them. I cut open tires, so I can physically see how thick the sidewalls are on these, and they are a little bit thicker than the crawlers have been in the past. Which makes me theorize. Oh, come on, car. Which makes me theorize that these tires will work a little bit better on a little heavier car. Probably like 7 pound plus would do really well on these tires. Just to get them to conform a little better and work a little harder. Maybe in time, once I break them in, they do better for the lighter weight stuff. But I just think a heavier car will work best with the brand new G8 Trepadors. That was a fun climb, that worked out well. This Capra's doing great. The tires are hooking up pretty good out here. It's liking this ledgy sandstone. Yeah. So fun to get up close to these things. Just watch the suspension articulate and work. Look at all that droop on the rear end. 100 mil shocks in the rear of a Capra. And all the way down nice and steep. And we've essentially worked our way all the way back out on this obstacle. Nice little run there. Now I will say that the release of the Trepador is pretty cool because I love the full-size buggies, and having a licensed tire in Maxxis Trepador is a great option for trying to clone scale buggies, right? Oh, don't mind Sydney. She's just cruising through, crushing the hard lines too. So it's always fun to have more options. It's great that it's in a different size. I do like that it's a little bit different there. So just add more options to the market. You know, maybe you don't care so much what tread pattern it is, but you just want that size, that 4.9. I would say this is definitely worth looking into. Okay, I'm trying to get my rear tire further to the right. I want to run that ridge under my passenger front. So I'm curious to hear your guys' thought. What do you think of Proline's release of the Trepador? Are you mad that it's a 4.9? Do you like that it's a 4.9? I wouldn't have been sad if it was a 4.75 either. I think that would have been a great option. Just because that's more traditional to the 1.9 size. So I mentioned that front winch in there a few times. I do sell these as a kit with the micro winch mount for the Axial Capra cage, or should I say compatible with the Axial Capra cage trademark. So, you know, legal stuff. Thanks to Traxxas, I now know to say that things are compatible with, not for the Axial Capra, right? But those are available through westdesertwheeler.com with a kit or just the mount if you're after just the mount. I do get a very common question on the winches, which is what is included with the kit? So you get the Reefs Micro Servo, Reefs 99 Micro Winch. That comes with a spool, a winch line, and a hook. This car has a fairlead bolted to the grill. Those are not included, but you can get those from Reefs. But the 99 Micro Servo winch is surprisingly strong. It will pick this whole Capra up off the ground, and this thing weighs probably just under 7 pounds as configured. Got some big brass weights on the front. What are you digging for, Sydney? What'd you find? Did you get yourself a lizard? Look out, Capra coming through with some firewood. Get the stick. Get it. Get the stick. She doesn't want the stick from the Capra, I guess. So westdesertwheeler.com for that micro servo winch mount as a kit or as just the winch mount if you want it. That's enough shameless plugging, right? I do love the Axial Capra, man. It's just fun. But as mentioned, I'm a buggy guy. Like, it's one of the best options, and I love the Capra portals on custom builds. So many great aftermarket parts and choices. So let's try a little different approach into here. Try and get the rear out of that overhang. You can hear that G8 working. It's just a difficult line. Lots of ledges and stuff just in the wrong spots. Oh yeah, there she goes. Okay, we got our front kind of secured up above the rock. Hell yeah, that was cool. So let's use our suspension winch. Tighten up that front. Try and keep the front planted. You can even try and articulate the nose and then pull that winch in, and it's picking up pressure off that left rear. Oh, we almost had that for a second. It'll take a lot of pressure off that left rear so that it will help climb that wall. We're just going to pivot around the door panel. Nice, nice. Doing this drag axle too. This car has been surprisingly fun. I've done so many rear steer Capras that just having a drag axle Capra, it's been just a fun challenge again. Now I've still got a 4-wheel steer Capra and 2 other rear steer rigs. And so yeah, having a drag axle is not a bad thing on the bench. At this point in time, Axial has discontinued the drag axle Capras. You can only get 4-wheel steer Capras now, which is a very interesting choice. They also discontinued the Axial kit. I did have the privilege of putting a few of those together. They were a very fun build, but I ended up replacing about 90% of the car after I had built that kit. Okay, we got our rear axle diffed out pretty bad on that climb, so we need to get our tire on the rock. We get our fronts in a position that'll let that rear tire get on the rock. So this car has some solid changes made to it that, just through my experience of building multiple Capras through the years, these have been my favorite changes and mods to make to all the Capras. So big brass knuckles in the front, always a good choice, as long as it doesn't limit your steering. You need to get the right knuckles that don't limit your steering. If you go too big, they hit the axle C's and actually limit your steering, so that's not helping you any. Always set your endpoints. That's a free thing you can do. Set your endpoints to get maximum steering angle possible. I like the Vanquish 24mm servo horns on the Capra axles to give my servo more throw. Oh. Rear tire on the left side got lots of traction, about tried to throw us off the wall. And this kind of crawling is why I love the Capra. Having the cage to work around and just using the cage to lean on and help get the car to pivot on it. Lots of steering angle, the big portals, the wide track width, helps span gaps. Are they the most capable crawlers? No. There's lots of like flat rail builds that will outperform them, but they just look great and they're just fun. I like to watch them work. And whether it's an aftermarket cage, like a UC Fab or an RC Speedy, it's all good, man. Just whatever you enjoy. And the Capra for me is just a great platform to go out and have fun with. Like right now I'm making a video. So technically I'm working. I am full-time YouTube. But I am having a damn good time doing it. And thanks to everyone who watches. Just watching helps me out. Thanks to the people who subscribe, that helps me out. Commenters. But the people who use my affiliate links, that really helps out as well. If you're buying RC parts online, use the affiliate links for any of the creators that you like. It helps them out, guys. Definitely do that if they have them. And then my own website is the best way to support me. But I have pretty limited, you know, parts. I'm a Capra nerd, so hopefully you are too. And hopefully you've picked up some WDW stuff. I keep trying the same thing over and over. This isn't getting me anywhere. I need to move a rock. I am not normally one to do this. I don't want to pave myself a road, but I'm not making any progress without doing something. That's all it needed. There we go. Now we can get into the real hard stuff. This will get wild in here. And so these tires will probably take 3 to 4 trips of about an hour driving each before like they start to actually be broken in. That's kind of been my experience. So it's going to take some time crawling, which can be a good or a bad thing depending on who you are and how much time you have to go crawl. Hopefully I can get these started to scrub in quick. I need to intentionally go drive the cars with the Trepadors on them. And so when you have brand new tires, really of any brand, I recommend scrubbing them in. Like I would not run brand new tires in a competition. I would suggest having broken in tires. Okay, is it going to hang? Will it hold? That front right tire just keeps climbing. Let our winch out, let it articulate. There's just enough room for an axle on the ledge up here. And I don't, no, we lost it. So something I've noticed with the Proline Trepador against the BFG crawler, both in watching the video of my B&B RC Canyon run with the cut and shut Trepadors, and in running side by side with some friends who have cut and shut crawlers against my Trepadors, the Trepador doesn't seem to have as much forward drive from the main contact patch of the tire. It seems like the crawler gets more drive forward and the tread itself just gets better traction. But the sidewall of the Trepador seems to get better traction than the crawler does. Like there are times where I'll get this thing wedged into something and the sidewall will just lock in and will not let go. So if you're crawling a notch or something like that right there, that sidewall really helps pull the car up and out of stuff. But then like if you're on a big flat wall and you're just trying to climb something steep and flat, it seems like the crawler tread pattern is a little more beneficial for it. It's not a huge amount, but it's noticeable. So pay attention to that if you get yourself a set and see like how they compare to the other tires that you run. Yeah, just gonna put it on the rock slider, dip the front end off. Let's pick up our front axle. And we'll let it out. There we go. Forced articulation. Or not allowing articulation. That rear is going to push. Okay, let's see if we can side hill on the low side of this rock. We'll try and hang on by our sidewall on the inside. Capras can flex, let's use it to our advantage. We're going to have to get the front down and level before that rear's at the top. Yeah, perfect. all about line choice, guys. Use that winch to hold it to the weight of the front axle. Now that's one thing I need to talk about, is with a suck down setup on your front axle, the heavier your front axle is, the more influence it has on how it, the heavier your front axle is, the more influence it will have over the rest of the car. Speaking of line choice, we missed it. Okay, let's give ourselves a little reset there. There we go. No, we may be able to. Yeah, we're gonna have to climb that wall. Whoa. Sidewall traction much, guys? My genuine response is, whoa. That's pretty funny. Okay, let's turn out to the right. I don't think I want to go into that canyon. Okay, we're pretty bellied out here, so we need to get it off the belly somehow. So far, I think the 1.9s have probably been a little more impressive on this rig than my cut and shuts were. Maybe it's just the weight of the rig, the exact setup. I don't know. Maybe I'm just having more fun with the drag axle car. Maybe these inserts are slightly different print density and allow them to conform a little better. I think we're gonna go up and pivot left around that rock, use the driver door panel. We can limit our droop without locking it all the way down. So what we did there was reverse the tire up onto the top of the ledge, and now I'm trying to drive this more like a V-notch than pivot off the wall. But it runs out of tire to pull. There it goes. Nice. And we finally climbed our little rock pile here, so that worked out. Pretty cool. Got the old tree up here. That's pretty rad. Gonna get the Capra out into the sunlight. And that it's called fluorescent red, but it is blatantly orange. Once you get that stuff in the sunlight, man, that color pops. We're just diffed out. Sick. Goodbye, Capra. A very common question I get on my page is if I vent my tires, and the short answer is yes. And the long answer is yes, I vent all my tires. So there's your answer. Personally, I just feel that venting them allows the tire to conform and work. If you have a dual stage foam or a 3D printed insert, you need to vent it so that it allows that tire insert to work. I need to bump up this guy. So this would be like an example of where I haven't seen the traction like the crawlers will get on a flat face. See, it just doesn't pull. And there is a ledge at the bottom into an incline, but like I'm just not seeing the pull of the tires. Shit. This ledge at the bottom is not that bad. It's a pretty smooth ramp. Okay, I finally just got the rears in a good position. Limit our front suspension a little bit. We're getting steep. It's got a good hook. The overdrive should hold the nose in. We're right on the limit. Don't think it's gonna go up right here. Damn, that's a little steeper than it looks. Okay. Finally repositioned, took a few bumps. Just trying to use those inside sidewalls to work. Had that tiny amount of momentum, if you could even call it that, but just stayed in it basically. I didn't try and creepy crawl it, I just kept it going. Whether that made the difference or not, I'm not sure, but we made it, so we'll take it. That was a cool climb. Oh dear. Ah, I was gonna say that was a good save, but I turned out of it and fell in. Hold the nose down. Get that rear to climb. Yeah, made a difference. So fun, man. These buggies just go places. So a little more jagged wall face here. Let's see if we can find the traction crawling. I can hear the tires really working on the bottom. Looking for something here, Trepadors. There we go. All right, guys. Probably one of the last obstacles here. Let's kind of wrap it up on these tires. What do you guys think? Did they blow me away in their first drive initial impressions? No. Are they good? Yes. Are they worth buying? It's up to you. If this is a size you're after, then sure. It is an oddball size, a little bit bigger, great for a Capra. But, you know, it's going to be dependent. It's going to be dependent on what other vehicle you think might want a bigger 1.9, like larger than 475. Most vehicles look pretty scale with the 475s. It's kind of what most body designs are made for. But even if you have like a Capra axle flat rail, like a Rock Pirates Kraken on Capra axles, this would be a great choice as well. I like taller tires with more width and with more wheelbase. Those are the two times I want bigger tires. You got a long wheelbase or you got a lot of width. Ah, it fell off. It's just going to take time before we get more opinions out there and like a consensus on strengths and weaknesses of the Trepador. See how strong that Reefs 888 is, man. Had like the full pressure of the car pushing into it in a bind, and it just turned right around. That's why I got the little Reefs RC sticker on the hood, and Reefs 99 micro servo winches are pretty badass, picking up the whole weight of this car. Well, Sydney, say goodbye to your friends. It is time for us to wrap this one up and let everybody get back to their lives. We're gonna keep crawling though, don't worry. But we're gonna wrap the video up, huh? So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to drop your opinions down in the comments below. Looking forward to hearing it from you guys. Definitely curious to hear what you think just based off this video, whether you're going to buy them or not, and whether you already have bought them. Let me know. Thank you guys so much. Use the affiliate links down below. I would greatly appreciate it. Sydney would greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Keep the rubber side down.